You can read all the books in the world, listen to all the motivational speakers and gurus out there, but the fact is, if what they say or what you read doesn't make sense to you, it won't help. Moreover, all the information might even confuse you at times. You could be telling yourself, I did the work, I read all the books, I watched all those videos. Why am I still miserable? Why am I still unhappy? You are not doing something wrong. I believe that any information has to be processed in a logical way in order to be effective and change your world. It has to be filtered through your own thoughts, beliefs and past experiences. That is why one idea known for years makes sense to you now, but didn't in the past. A certain experience in your life helped you make sense of that idea, and at that point it clicked and you could finally truly understand what that guy in that book was trying to say. You can't simply think happy thoughts and suddenly be happy. Well, actually, you can, but that is for another video. It might work for a while, but you will be right back where you started once you get out of focus. You have to believe somehow that something bad is good, but how the can a bad thing ever be good? I'm Max from LifeHackerMax, and in a world full of anger, hate and toxicity, I want to discuss happiness. The thoughts that I'm sharing with you in this video are reflections of my own life experiences, ideas that I believe help me overcome the sadness, stress, depression and all that negativity in my life. At least part of it all. By changing my mindset, I managed to be a little bit more optimistic and positive and raise the bar of my life's quality overall. Because, in my opinion, good mental well-being doesn't mean you're always happy or unaffected by your experiences. It means managing your negative feelings in a healthy way, and that depends on your mindset, on how you choose to see life and everything that surrounds you. Quote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." I'm not a counselor or a psychologist or a motivational speaker, and I'm certainly not a guru or anything like that. I'm just the average guy collecting my thoughts and sharing them with you guys in hope that this will help you find the means to cope with some of the things life throws your way. So take it all in with a little bit of salt. And while those ideas apply to me and my life, might not apply to all of you, because we are unique and we each have our own problems and reasons to be unhappy, and I can't possibly imagine or talk about something I haven't experienced myself. But listen to me till the end, because maybe, just maybe, one of those ideas could make sense to you. Let's discuss happiness and mental well-being. So, how the can a bad thing ever be good? Well, it can't, but depending on the situation, it can be irrelevant or insignificant or not as bad as you think, or it could be leading you towards a greater good. Listen, Elon Musk managed to get over his fear of dark by understanding that
dark just means really the absence of photons in the visible wavelength.
He managed to change his mindset into thinking there is nothing bad about darkness using the information he could relate to. He used the best logic that made sense to him to make a bad thing irrelevant. If you would give this example to your kid, he would probably end up being scared of the light as well, thinking, what if the photons in the light are going to hurt me? And I'm not saying that your kid is not or will not be as smart as Musk. I'm just making the point that our minds work in different ways, and we have to relate to whatever makes sense to us in order to manage to change our mindset and get rid of that fear or bad feeling that hurts us. That being said, here are a few things I'm doing for my mental well-being that you can experiment with. Practice gratitude or thankfulness. Gratitude, thankfulness, is a feeling of appreciation felt by the recipient of kindness, gifts, helps, favors, or other types of generosity. Being grateful doesn't mean you have to forget or refuse the negative part of your life. Being grateful is about empowering the good things about it. Think about what you are grateful for right now. Your family and the way you were raised, your partner, your friends, your health, your job, your car, or anything else that you are grateful for having in your life. People who are more grateful than others are more likely to overcome hardships they have. Being grateful or thankful gives me a sense of satisfaction and self-acceptance. Acknowledging the things that I'm thankful for overpowers the negative feelings. Being grateful or thankful for what you have might even help you save money. Not being satisfied with what you have will make you spend a lot of money on material things that you might as well live without. Getting a better car, even though the one you have works just fine and takes you from A to B with no problem. Buying that new phone, even though the one you have can perform great for one more year. New shoes, new stylish clothes, and so on. And I'm talking about things that you could trade for better ones, as long as you have money. But what will you do with the things you can't trade? You can't get rid of and replace with better ones, like your kids, your family, your relationship. Practicing gratitude might also help you cope with those difficult times you experience with the irreplaceables that are here to stay. Don't regret your choices. Try not to do things that you know you might regret. Regret is a negative feeling that could be followed by frustration and end up in resentment. Whenever the thought of "I'm going to regret this" comes to mind, maybe that is a good time to think twice about doing what you are about to do. But if something you do doesn't go according to your expectations, don't regret it. Take accountability for your actions. As long as you make an informed decision when acting and do what is in your power towards a positive outcome, if it doesn't go well, accept the fact that you did what was in your power for the outcome to be a positive one, and sometimes things just don't go as planned. You could also try to take all possible outcomes into consideration and think about it like this. If what I'm about to do ends up with the worst case scenario, am I going to be okay with that outcome? For example, while trying to be a good provider for my family, I often took the decision to work late, spending nights in a row at the shop working overtime. And even though I strongly believe that that decision contributed a lot to my divorce, in my mind the other option, to be more present at home, would have gotten us broke and probably on the streets. So I made a choice. Taking accountability of my actions and being aware from the very beginning of the possible choices and possible outcomes, and that my decisions could have this outcome, helped me accept the situation as it is, get over my past actions, and start focusing on what I can do better from that point on, instead of staying trapped in resentment and full of anger. Acknowledge, accept, move forward, and make better decisions in the future. Another thing I did regarding this idea was with sports. I watched videos on YouTube of accidents, motorcycle, paragliding, snowboarding, to better understand the risks, what could go wrong, how to protect myself, but also to decide if I'm willing to take the risk of injury and take accountability for that risk if the worst case scenario will ever happen. This way, I'm aware of the risks, and in my mind I'm protecting my mental well-being if something bad ever happens. Stop being one-sided. I believe there is more than one side to a story, meaning not always one side is right and the other is wrong. Not all stories have a good guy and a bad guy in them. Sometimes both parties are good, or they are both bad. Whenever you are in an argument, trying to see both sides of the story, not only yours, might make you realize that the person you are arguing with might be right in his own way. Looking objectively at the situation might help you ease up on the anger and deal with the situation with a little more compassion for the other person. And this could open up the gate for alternative resolutions that might be beneficial for both of you, or decide to drop the argument altogether. Understanding the other person's needs and motives for the argument makes it easier to figure out where the middle ground is, if the problem can be solved or not, and what is the best way to go about it. Let me give you an example. Here where I live, in Bucharest, Romania, we have a problem with parking spaces. There is a long line of unsatisfied citizens that expressed their anger about not having enough parking spaces. Well, in one of the state's actions of trying to satisfy the people, they cleared out some green areas in order to make room for more parking spaces. At which point, there was a huge riot on social media about this decision, because with this action, trees were cut and some green slots were transformed into concrete parking lots. Well, you can't please them all, right? So, in this situation, there were no good or bad decisions in my opinion. Whatever the decision, it would end up with part of the people being unhappy. In my opinion, the government took this decision with good intentions. Seeing the story from all three perspectives, the government, the drivers and the nature lovers, got me to realize that everyone had good intentions and everyone was right in his own way. And how could I get angry at someone for trying to do the right thing? So, by seeing the story in an objective manner, I couldn't get angry or unhappy with the situation. I just accepted things as they are and went about my own stuff without getting consumed by a few days of frustration. I have another story that could help you better understand how being one-sided can fill you with anger. It is about a mother being angry at the father for not taking care of their children's nail hygiene. In this story, the two are separated and the father spends 2 weekends a month with the kid. The father would take the kid to school on Monday with his nails uncut and dirty, and this would get the mother very angry and frustrated at the situation, and she was right to feel that way, seeing the situation from her perspective. But looking from the father's perspective, spending only 4 days a month with their child gave him less opportunities to practice with nail clippers, and he probably didn't know how to do it. Or maybe he was scared to do it altogether. And speaking as a single father, I can tell you that cutting nails to a child can be a real challenge sometimes. Well, understanding the father's side helped the mother see the situation with more compassion and understanding, and after engaging in a conversation about the issue and making some time to show him how to do it, the problem was solved. And they lived happily ever after. Choose to be happy. Happiness comes from within us. It is not something coming from outside ourselves. We can be happy and unhappy about the same thing. It depends on us to choose how a certain thing, thought or experience makes us feel. This brings me to a little story that left me amazed by the power of positive thinking. After the separation with my ex, I rented an apartment and did my best with the little money that I had to make it as friendly and welcoming as I could. I remember the last thing I bought was a small 80-inch LED TV. It was all that I could afford at the time. I was very stressed about this, and there were some bad thoughts that crossed my mind knowing that they had a big-ass 152-inch plasma TV at their mother's. I was thinking, they will certainly be disappointed with this tiny screen. What if they wish to stay with their mothers more because of the TV? But contrary to my expectations, the kids were actually amazed by the clarity and color of the new tiny LED TV. They didn't even bring up the fact that this TV was 4 times smaller than the other one. They just choose to be happy about it and see only the positive side of the situation. Kids can be amazing teachers as long as you are willing to learn from them. Stop victimizing yourself. I'm not talking about being a victim of a crime here. I'm talking about the times we identify others as the cause of an undesired situation and we tend to deny any personal responsibility for our own life circumstances. Someone or something other than yourself being at fault for your current state of mind would mean that you are not in control and there is nothing you can do about it. But there are times where you are at fault for whatever is happening to you, and that is okay because that means that you can do something to change things for the better. Take responsibility for your actions and see what you can do next time to make things better. It is always easier to blame someone or something for the bad things that are happening to us, and even though shifting the blame can make us feel a little better, that doesn't eliminate the frustration. It might even bring the anger factor to the equation, and it might cause you to feel powerless, the need for revenge, and oftentimes searching for sympathy from others. Finding excuses is not healthy for your mental strength, and if you find yourself putting the blame on other factors than your own actions most of the time, try taking a step back, analyze the situation from all perspectives, because you might be victimizing yourself. Try being honest with yourself. Nobody will judge you, and it is okay to make mistakes. Nobody is perfect after all. For example, if things don't go well when following someone's advice, note that it was your decision to act on that advice that led you to the outcome. Or, if you find yourself blaming the traffic or other factors for always being late, try leaving a bit earlier from home to be there on time. Don't blame the clock for not waking up on time. This will only upset you and get you angry at the clock, and the clock doesn't really care. Try setting more alarms instead. Don't blame your children for not having enough time for yourself. Instead, see what you can do to make time. Take them to their grandparents for the weekend, or hire a sitter, or better yet, teach them to be independent, so they will solicit you less. Accept what life brings you. Accept what life brings you as it is, and see the positive path a bad thing could lead you on. There is a saying that I love and I live by for some time. It is the journey that matters, not the destination. We never know what is in play for us, no matter how well we do things towards our goals and aspirations. We can start our journey towards one goal and end up in a completely different place we never thought possible. And if at one point things take a wrong turn, we have the tendency to think of it as a failure. We might even feel disappointed in ourselves. But the fact is, life doesn't stop there. After that turn, the road keeps going, leading us somewhere else. That turn doesn't have to be a wrong turn. It is just a change of path that could lead us to something even better. You never know. You can only hope for the better. Do some adjustments in your life for the new road. You can also be miserable, disappointed in your failure, but that doesn't do you any good. If one thing, it can almost certainly add more to the possibility that your next destination will not be an enjoyable one. Instead, you can choose to accept where you are and take the new presented path with open arms, full of hope and excitement for the possibility that this will be an even better journey than the one you wished for from the beginning. Let me explain. When I was 20 years old, I started my own advertising company in the production branch. I could say that I felt badly struggling with the competitors' prices while trying to offer my clients the best quality possible. But my curiosity and love for making and building stuff led me to discover the wonderful world of 3D printing. I even designed and built my own 3D printer with the experience, skills, and machines I gathered over the years in advertising. I learned 3D modeling, and for a couple of years I worked in industrial prototyping. But that didn't go as planned. A huge failure for various reasons, I could say. And then I worked for a while building huge 3D props for events and scenography, and then robots and automation, and then furniture, and so on, until I took the decision to close up shop. And here I am, making YouTube videos and using my awesomeness to teach people whatever crazy ideas are crossing my mind. And I have to say that right now I'm enjoying this journey. The point is, looking back now, I cannot say if every crossroad in my life was a failure or not, but I can definitely say that I enjoyed every new journey I've had, even though it might not have felt so wonderful whenever I found myself at a crossroad. And if all those experiences in life taught me something, that thing is to accept whatever life brings me and look forward with excitement to discover what my next journey will be. Nothing is forever. Life is impermanent. impermanence is a certainty of life. Once you realize this and understand that nothing is forever, then you can enjoy the happy moments and let the bad ones pass by. This idea is very important to me. The single thought that nothing is forever got me through some bad moments that seemed endless. I learned this after my first long-term relationship ended. The breakup happened after 8 years of relationship. We were young and probably not ready to stay together forever, but we managed to form a strong bond between us, and that made the breakup feel like an endless string of pain and suffering. It took me 3 months to put myself back together, the longest 3 months of my life, but after that, everything went back to normal. I slowly took control of my life, recalibrated to my situation, and moved forward as the bad feelings dissipated into the past. Even though it seemed like there was nothing good after losing everything we built together, it turned out that actually I was wrong. I had some amazing experiences after that. I had other relationships, met my wife, had 2 kids, all wonderful and awesome memories. Sadly, my marriage ended in similar circumstances, after 8 years with 3 months of pain and putting myself back together again. What changed was knowing that the pain and suffering will not be forever. It will pass, slowly, but it will pass. This thought enabled me to feel what it was to be felt, but with the reassurance that after that everything will be better, that the bad feelings will go away. And another thing that changed in my relationships, I stopped worrying about my relationship status and started enjoying the great moments in my relationships while they lasted, no matter if that was for 1 more week, 1 year or a lifetime. I enjoy the good moments with a lot more intensity now, because nothing is forever. And you know what they say, enjoy it while it lasts. And now you know why. So do yourself a favor and let the bad moments pass by while enjoying the good times to the max. Stop waiting for the future. Live in the present. I have spent most of my childhood impatient and unsatisfied about my life. I was always chasing the future, wanting what my big brother had, waiting for me to get to the next step. In kindergarten, I wished to be in school. In school, I wished to be in high school, and so on. Somehow, I managed to see my present as not enough, and found myself unsatisfied and waiting for the future, thinking that once I get there, I could finally be happy. One thing that I've noticed while I would let more and more present times pass by is that there is an equilibrium with each time. The good and bad are always there, and each step we take towards the end of our time has its own uniqueness, and we cannot go back to enjoy it ever again. The way I manage to change my thoughts whenever my mind starts craving for the future and it doesn't let me enjoy the present is this. I am looking back at some of the wonderful memories of my past that I cannot ever repeat and also didn't appreciate then as much as I do now. This way, I realize that I may not experience the present in the future, and what is now will never be again. I may not be in the same condition for sports. My kids will not be the age they are now. My parents, my passions, my relationship, they will all change. And if I don't enjoy everything now as it is, I might miss out on some wonderful moments. We have the tendency to get blocked waiting for the next best thing instead of enjoying whatever we have now. The future will come nonetheless. So find what you love about today and enjoy that. Stop looking outside your life and start living your own. You never know what is really happening in other relationships or other people's lives from social interactions or from social networks. What you see is not all that it is. Don't judge or be envious of others. We all have our own problems that we keep to ourselves. Even if it's not the same problem, it's another. So, be grateful for what you have. I've known people with 3 or 4 kids that are tired and struggling with money, and I've known wealthy people that are struggling with having kids. We each have something but are missing something else. We all have a reason to stay in a miserable state of mind, but at the same time we have the potential to be satisfied about something else. Choose to be grateful for what you have instead of being unhappy about what is missing in your life. I am pretty sure that even the motivational speakers and gurus have bad days from time to time. They might seem like they've got everything figured out, talking very calmly and relaxed, being always positive and having all the answers. But that is part of their job, their marketing strategy. I'm pretty sure that if we could get a closer look into their personal lives, they also have their fair share of struggles like you and I do. The idea is to look inside our own lives, figure out what makes it special and focus more on those aspects. Accept bad as good. We all go through rough times in our life. We all experience all spectrum of emotions. But did you notice that every one emotion has its opposite? Good, bad, sad, happy, love, hate, fulfilled, unfulfilled, and so on. This is because we can express our feelings through comparison. If we don't experience sadness, we can't tell when we are happy. A bad experience will add more value to a good one. Also, bad experiences are experiences from which we have the opportunity to learn and become a better version of ourselves. So, the mistakes we make are great teachers. Sometimes better than if we did good all the time, because if we would only experience the good without any bad experiences to compare them with, the good would just become neutral, pale. And where is the joy in that? If you would go back to the beginning of the video and listen again, you would see that the examples I gave you relate to some sort of bad situation that taught me how to better manage my emotions by changing my thought process. So, I could say those bad situations were actually good, because I've learned something from them. Example, whenever my kids were misbehaving, the first thought was bad kid, bad situation. I would get angry at them and fill myself with frustration about the situation. After a while, I changed my mindset into thinking that every time they are misbehaving is actually an opportunity for me to correct that specific behavior. See how bad can actually be good, and how changing your mindset can transform a feeling of frustration into hope or even excitement. And while working on this video, I just realized something. Reading books and listening to motivational speakers and gurus didn't help me as much as my past experiences did. They did help me to translate my feelings into words and make better sense of my emotions, but the real life lessons came from within me and my interactions with the outside world. It is very important to know when to use those mind tricks, because they can also be harmful to you if used improperly. But that is up to you to figure it out. I'm Max from LifeHackerMax, and I would very much like to hear what strategies you use to deal with your mental strength. Are you using any of the tricks I'm using? What is one mindset you think changed your life for the better? Leave me a comment below and I'll see you in another video. I'm making videos on various topics, so be sure to check out my channel for all kinds of cool videos, ideas, life hacks and more. You can help me grow this channel and make more videos by becoming a Patreon. You can find the link in the description. Thank you for watching.